Hello and welcome to another edition of Canutillo Convos, the official Canutillo ISD podcast. I am here with Dr. Pedro Galaviz, our superintendent of schools.
Good morning.
Dr. Galaviz, introduce us to your special guest.
Special. You know, she's Dr. Fuentes. I mean, I'm a doctor, but I'm an ED, but she's actually an MD, a real doctor that takes care of us. And Dr. Fuentes, I can't say enough, you and Dr. Reyes, again, got us through COVID. I know we're not there, I know we're not at the finish line, but I mean, your weekly COVID reports, your weekly getting clinics, getting vaccines, getting testing. I had to be tested a couple of times, you open the door. But yeah, Dr. Fuentes, she's a real deal.
Oh, thank you so much.
Welcome, Dr. Fuentes. And just so everybody knows, Dr. Fuentes is basically our health expert here in Canutillo ISD.
We're the only district in the region that actually has a medical doctor on staff.
Yes, we're very lucky to be in that position. And you couldn't have come at a better time, right? I mean, it's, when health was the biggest concern for a school district, that's when we were able to really tap into your expertise and help us through that very difficult time. So thank you.
No, thank you. I think in that sense, Canutillo set the example, right? Of we see public health, I guess, every school and everywhere applying public health interventions, but we don't have really an expert in a school setting marking the difference of why it's so important to have, as you have a social worker, as you have a teacher, as you have your physical education coach. Public health is as important to keep the health and have everything in place. So no, thank you for opening the doors and making me feel part of the family. So I feel lucky.
And we brought you today for a special topic, and it's very apropos that you're wearing pink blazer.
Yeah, of course, it's like breast awareness, breast cancer awareness month. So.
We are kicking this off. October is breast cancer awareness, and it's taken off, right? Like it's a phenomena out there in the community. People really have taken on this awareness of trying to fight breast cancer and trying to make sure that women and men understand the risks and understand the importance of self-checks and medical intervention when it comes to that. Why is October and breast cancer awareness such an important part of even a school district's sort of mantra here?
Yeah, of course. Well, breast cancer is the second most common cancer in women after skin cancer. It affects up to 1 out of 8 women are going to present some type of breast cancer. And in many cases, the good thing is that there's screening for it. And the bad side is that sometimes we don't pay so much attention of the importance of screening. When we are screening it appropriately, in appropriate timely manner, we are able to detect the early stages even before you detect clinical or any physical changes. So it says that, for example, a mammogram can pick up the early stages of cancer 3 years before you can notice any changes physically. So that's why it's so important to be doing the screening. Sometimes, especially during COVID, we tend to put everything on the side and maybe do later. And right now that COVID is becoming a little bit more endemic, we're in that stage. It's important to again retake that information into the screenings. We've been lagging a little bit on the side, I guess.
And it's important for all of us to understand the risks, understand the consequences of it. Doc, you see this in even our students, young kids that are middle school, high school, taking on this fight. Football teams wearing pink socks and cheerleaders wearing pink bows, and what does that say about a community like Canutillo that's willing to do this?
It shows we care. We care about our community. We care about the health of all individuals, especially women, especially as Dr. Fuentes says that's the second leading cause of death for women. And I think my question back to Dr. Fuentes is, you got middle school girls, right? High school, and you mentioned men, because I think sometimes men, we don't forget,
True.
we're susceptible to breast cancer. But what should we be planting in our school? What seeds, especially for the young girls? Because what I was told the other day, that it's not till you're 40 that you should get mammograms.
Yeah.
But how do you, a little girl who's going through, adulthood and middle school and high school, what should they be hearing from us?
I think Canutillo, like a quality that I've seen, we have like a very a community based, like a sense that we care for each other, we protect each other. So maybe breast cancer, yes, it might be diagnosed mostly after 50s. That's why the screening begins at 40s. But I think kids nowadays play a very, very, very significant role as influencing the parents. And as parents, we tend to listen a lot to our kids. So maybe I'm young, maybe I'm in middle school, and maybe I'm in high school, I have my girl on my own who's like, have you done this? Don't remember to take care of yourself? Hey, you need to rest. She's sitting with my injury right now. No, you need to rest. You need to take care, So, I think that also, like Hispanic Latino community, we're very families based as well. We take care of each other. So even if this information is more inclined maybe to women, I don't want to say older women, but maybe 40 and above, I think kids have a very powerful voice to the community. They can have an impact. They can make a change on our behavior, on like, hey mom, get checked. I was listening about this and you should get checked. Have you get your mammogram? Have you been screened? I think kids have like that level of power over us and as parents.
So kids are more like coaches. More like
yeah, they can do.
Influencing their parents.
I think so.
I heard this at school, especially in the Latino community. It's I don't know. I would think you're saying, I would like to know the statistics behind just the Latinas, right? Like how much of that information really gets out to our community, to, hey, go get checked. Go, it's okay. Go take care of yourself. I like that.
And I know as a mom, I like to take care of, I know I need to be well because my family needs me, because my kids need to see me well. So I think that's an important factor as well.
I was at the high school yesterday, and Miss Jennifer and Miss Patsy were talking about a mammogram, having the mobile unit come out. And they're, this is the first time I heard, wow, they said, oh, a lot of our teachers like that because it comes to them. And they're going to do it, I believe, in I know they were talking about yesterday, but on parent-teacher conference, having that day where teachers, they're free from kids, but they can schedule times to go to the mammogram. How long does that test take?
It's really fast. I think we just tend to postpone it. We think it's just, maybe I think as women we're afraid of it. But it's some people may mention might be a little uncomfortable, but it's just really a really fast procedure.
And I think for a lot of us when it comes to health, ignorance is bliss, right? But it's important not to put off things like these, and not to like you mentioned. A lot of us are very much needed in our families, and this is a way of taking care of our families as well.
Yeah, definitely.
The other part of this is that like you said, it raises the awareness among kids, and having them be influencers. It goes beyond their families. It's seeing them on the field with wearing that pink jersey or wearing that pink uniform and showing support. It sends a message that this is important, and it sends a message that for those kids, like you said, to take it to their families, but also be mindful that as they get older, that they're
wonder if we could have one of those units, those mammogram units, come for a football game. Maybe 5 o'clock, 5:30, just to show
We'll definitely look into that. I mean, it's
Yeah.
the thing. But and to that point, Dr. Fuentes, if there's a community member here in Canutillo that wants to do a mammogram, never has had one, what are some of the resources that you know of that they can do?
Well, sometimes we do bring to the health fairs somebody that comes and books you
Right.
a schedule or an appointment for you to go, and usually they're free.
Right.
Most insurances as well, they're gonna make sure that you get your mammogram, your yearly screening
And
as well.
just check with your doctor
Yeah.
and make sure that you get checked as well.
Well, I mean, I want to switch because again, ignorance is bliss, so blissful. Because the pain, again, associated with women. I'm gonna be 56. What do I have to do? Because I'm thinking like, hey, I don't have a woman. What do I have to do?
As
As
a
a man?
man.
Yeah, as a male.
Well, like
How do I
you're
detect?
saying, well, usually, yes, breast cancer is mostly associated in women. I guess less than 1% can be seen in men. I guess men, the symptoms are the same as women, like nipple discharge changes, like any of those symptoms. Also like risk factors. If you have any concern, you should always talk to your physician. But also like as a man, you can always influence, I don't know, your sister, your wife, your daughter to get checked. I think that's
So
very
my
important.
daughter's 20, soon to be 21. What should I be telling her?
At least mention and talking about it, the importance. Maybe I know, like maybe at 20 she's still young, but it doesn't mean that it cannot happen. But if there's always like a question, you always bring it to your physician. There's other types of things that also can be checked in young women as well. It's not only
Are
cancer.
there any like too much smoking, too much drinking associated with breast cancer?
Risk factors, yeah.
What are some risk factors?
There's some non-modifiable risk factors and there's modifiable risk factors. There's something that we cannot do about it, right? Like age. As much as we want to stop the clock, we just
Genetics,
can't, right?
yeah.
It's also like there's also like genetics. There's another risk factor, right? The hereditary risk factors. But some of the other ones are smoking, also being a little bit overweight, alcohol consumption, living a sedentary life.
What's that?
Like no exercise, no physical activity. So that's kind of like some of the ways that we at least can, what can I do at least to decrease those risk factors of getting breast cancer. So more physical activity, reduce or no alcohol consumption, of course, smoking, try to keep your dietary changes, balances.
That drives me crazy because you just think of, kids can be influencers. But when I see these kids, especially eating those Takis, eating those Cheetos, I was with a kid yesterday, her snacks were just bad for you. And it was just like, how do you break that?
Those
Because those risk factors are building.
yeah.
So it goes from what would the 56-year-old Pedro say to the 15-year-old Pedro when he's eating really bad, or he's eating the McDonald's, he's eating the Big Mac, not thinking that there's negative effects long term from that behavior. So I guess my question is how do we? I don't know. You said smoking, drinking, eating bad, not exercising. How do we get there? Because even I know some of our kids, the obesity in some of our children are. Is that a fact? Is that, I don't know. You're the researcher. So.
I think I think it's very important to maintain a balance. We cannot also like completely limit access to everything, but maybe it's about teaching a balance. I think that's why it's so important to have these public health prevention education programs talking about it. Sometimes talking about it is not enough, but Pedro is it maybe constantly eating tacos in front of the kids, it sets an example, it sends a message. So I think us have that responsibility, like us trying to set an example, like being also like a positive influence or leaders for them, somebody they can look up to and try to maybe imitate, like
just being healthy. I know, again, Dollar General, very young couple in front of me had a big thing of Cheetos and soda, Mountain Dew, right?
And
all
the
that
habits
sugar and all that.
And habits are so difficult to change.
Right.
They're so difficult to break and to change. I mean, yeah, they're doable, but it's just and it's not only breast cancer, right? We're talking about diabetes, we're talking about many other chronic conditions, high blood pressure, coronary heart disease, right? Everything's about habits. If you really come to narrow it down, it's about lifestyle. So that's where it comes like the big challenge, I guess, for us.
And speaking of sedentary lives, making sure that we're not falling into that. We're about to go on a 2-week intersession for our kids. So they're going to be on break. They're not going to have the expectation of waking up early and coming to school, which often tends to lead to sedentary life at home, right? Well, how important is it? Yeah, they're playing video games, watching TV, doing whatever. How important is it for parents to be aware of physical activity, healthy lifestyle during this break?
I know, and with this technology that we have today, it's kind of like a double-sword age. It can be very useful as to be like we see the kids influencing and they can be a useful source to send out information and messages, but also we spend the time, right? Like sometimes we're eating together and everybody's on their phone, right? So it's kind of like that. So it's all about, I guess, family engagement, setting our rules, and as a parent, try to engage more also like with some activities with your own family.
And it is important to balance rest and physical
exactly.
activity. This break is here because the kids and the staff need that little bit of break, Dr. G.
Break from what?
From the day-to-day.
I love this job. I love this job. You gotta love this job.
You do. But sometimes you gotta take a little break. I'm sure even Dr. Fuentes is gonna agree that sometimes you need to kind of like disconnect and
maybe disconnect a little bit from something. But I think that's why it's so important to have other type of activities, not only like your own focus. It's important to.
Oh, you're a runner, right? You run.
Yeah.
Bike and
that's
why you have the Green Bay Packers, dude. That's why you have
the Washington Commanders.
Yeah, get sacked 9 times. Yeah, but and I think one of the things is, and one thing I learned from this guy that wrote this, or these SEALs that wrote this book called Extreme Ownership. It talks about discipline, and discipline buys you freedom. Discipline buys you the quality of life, a healthy quality of life. And it's all about consistency. And I think that's what I urge parents is to still be consistent during the break. Still, it's not a time to let go of family activities or going out for a walk, putting, your technology away and let's just talk. Let's just, you gotta be consistent in the message because you're modeling, like Dr. Fuentes said, the lifestyle that you want as an individual, but also future generations to come. So I just urge parents to just, again, a child is an investment, and we need to invest in our children if we want them to have that quality of life. And so that's my message.
And I love now I don't know this now that Eliud Kipchoge broke the world record, right, in running on the marathon a couple of days ago.
What was the record?
He broke it by 30 seconds. So all that work and discipline, right, just to break it by 30 seconds. And I love his mentality, right? He's very positive, and he says, it's all about consistency and discipline. And really, exactly like you mentioned, those who are disciplined are really the free ones, because that means that you're not a prey, or you will not be a person who falls into your urges or your other temptation. Like, you're gonna stay consistent, and that's gonna lead you eventually to get to that goal. Sometimes people, they ask me, how do you stay motivated, to run every day or to. It's not about motivation because we never have the motivation. Sometimes we wake up and we don't have that. Oh, I don't want to do it. But if you train yourself, your body to actually have a schedule, a rhythm, this is what you're doing, you just become like habituated, like it's a habit to your system. So
your body gets used to
it's used to.
When you don't run, it's kind of like, hey, dude, why do we're not running?
Your
mind starts.
I just got injured and I was all crying. No, I need to. What am I gonna do? So obviously they told me you can swim. Okay, so this morning at 5 a.m. I was already swimming. So I was like, no, you gotta find ways to continue with that habit. Of course.
And Doc, there's gonna be several CISD employees getting their steps in this weekend. We're gonna
block party.
We're gonna be block walking.
Block party.
We're just FYI, some of you might get a visit from Canutillo ISD personnel or volunteer to talk about every child, every school, the CISD bond election. This is an informational campaign. We're out there to spread info about the bond, facts and figures. We're gonna have every school have a couple of teams out there knocking on doors and making sure that people understand what's on the bond, when the election is, and what it means for the children of Canutillo. What message do you want to send out to the public?
We assembled our principals and we asked parents and teachers, because again, it's more than just talking about it, it's about action. So when we don't act and get out there and say our message as far as what the bond, the need, what we need, then that story is going to be defined for us. So that's what I learned from last year is I was sedentary. I sat there hoping, thinking that, there's no way it's not going to pass. And boom, it didn't pass. Again, 8 out of the 10 were connected to the district. So we want to engage even the 8 out of the 10 to get them informed, because evidently none of them came here. So we need to go out there. Again, this is about growth. It's about safety, security. It's about equity, and it's about programming. And it's about, again, we want, not for today, but for future generations to come, for the betterment of Canutillo, for the betterment of our community. It's for our kids.
Right, and we spent the last couple of months really engaging with community members, some key stakeholders, to understand what we needed to do to reverse that negativity that was here about a year ago in that bond. I think we've done good work to try and reverse that. One of those key issues was the contract with the voters that the board just approved this weekend. I think that sends a strong message to the community that A, we understand some of the mistakes we've made in the past, and B, that we're cognizant enough to recognize those mistakes and fix them.
Yeah, it's a legally binding document, and it's not only for this board, it's for boards to come. So again, we're gonna have an election, right? We're gonna have 3 seats up, so if you get 3 new board members, they don't come with their own agenda. It's already set. It's already set in stone. It's cemented that this is what we told the voters we're gonna do, and this is what we're gonna do. So again, it's just, again, working together collaboratively as a community, so we can just give what kids deserve.
And I personally am looking forward to engaging more with the community, making sure they understand the impact of the bond. I know that in the meetings we've had so far, people have a lot of questions, and that's to be understood. People have a lot of concerns, and that's to be understood. But they also understand what the need is. They also understand the path that Canutillo is on, and that path is a path of growth. Canutillo is slated to become that premier suburban school district. Academically, we're there already, and this bond would, if approved by the voters, would help us match the quality of instruction that's happening in our classrooms to the infrastructure that we have.
Not only the classroom, but our support. Like Dr. Fuentes, her office is a student support, which is built in the 50s, with swamp coolers, infested. And it's not conducive to the quality of support we give campuses.
Right.
Because we have, I don't know how many programs we have there.
Keeps growing and growing.
It keeps growing and growing. It's all for the community. Again, we also want to give those offices, those people that support and shape and safeguard our district, the offices they deserve too.
Right.
So we can help classrooms and help kids and staff and teachers. So I was going to ask you to walk tomorrow, but you can't walk.
I'll be there. I'll take a couple of steps.
Unless you can swim, we'll swim.
Yeah, we'll swim somewhere.
Don't worry.
We'll wrap it up. We asked Community Canutillo to expect us to be knocking on their doors and to hear from us regarding upcoming community meetings and informational meetings about the bond. And have a great intercession, a great break.
And also, take care of yourself. Again, thank you, Dr. Fuentes, for highlighting breast cancer awareness, kicking it off. And again, I think it's important because it's called sustainable vitality. If you don't take care of yourself physically,
self-care.
You can't enjoy
life.
You can't enjoy life. So.
Yeah.
All right, Galaviz, see you later.
See you guys later. We'll
also,
be back.
Also, shout out to Northwest. They have their homecoming soccer game today at 6:30. So good luck, Griffins.
Good luck, Griffins. Happy homecoming.
Thank you.
See you guys next week.